Hello, so Hitman's Hot Ones here with a bit of a different video. What I'm doing here is taking you through DraftKings and why I am now beginning to prefer this to betting. So had some good wins lately, and the thrill is that you can get some massive payouts here. What I will say at the start is there's a link which you can see here, draftkings.co.uk/r/hitman981. Please use that if you do sign up, so you get $20 for yourself and $20 for me to try and chase some big money. So I'll take you through the website. This is you can get the mobile app as well, but there's some features that work better on the website, some better on the app. So I'll take you through the website first and show you how to play. So yeah, we've got the link there. Then we've got the home screen. As you go into it, you will see the lobby, first tab, different sports. We're not playing esports because we are too old for that and we don't have a clue what's going on. Most of the other sports I don't know much about. Dabble with NFL when it comes live. So we'll click on golf and here we go. We're not going to do any of this nonsense at the top, like creating contest. Game style, they'll tell you about these in the information icon, but classic is the best, biggest payouts. Showdown is for each round, so it's a 1 round tournament. So you can see it's first round here, or late is people who play later, as in players who tee off later. So classic, 3am open, great stuff. We like a time zone, 12:45 p.m. So that's our time on Thursday, so we love that. None of this West Coast nonsense where it starts silly o'clock and finishes at 3am in the morning. And you'll look at this and you'll think, well, I've deposited $20, let's just throw some lineups in here, or let's put a $25 lineup here. So the issue with this is contest selection. That's 83,200 odd people or entries in this tournament. You're getting professionals, they'll be putting in 150 lineups, so $750, and you're going to be competing against that with your 4 entries, so they've got you outnumbered there. Very hard to win that, but there is an advantage that you can have against the other players, which is things like this, single entry. So as we type that in, we get this one come up. Lower payout, so you're not going to get your $50,000, but you'll be dancing around the room naked if you get $3,000, so be happy with that. 7,134 other entries, and all the professionals can only enter 1. So we've got a bit of an advantage. We'll talk more about other advantages that we see elsewhere later on. You can see here, this is the entry fee, so that'll cost you $12. Obviously that's $5. And various ones, often like the $33 because it's 10,000 to first, which is a good run. That's one I was 10th in last week, which was a nice little viewing experience on a Sunday. Now with Fantasy Golf or DFS or DraftKings, there's a lot about game theory, and when you're looking at game theory here, it's basically, I'm using Rip Run Good here, who use projected ownership. So you want those lower owned players, because you're looking at Gary Woodland here, 7.38% owned, versus Aberg, who I really like actually. But is he 3 times as likely to outperform Gary Woodland? Probably not. We don't need to worry about that as much with the single entries. But if you know someone's going to be very popular, generally, the best players will be, but there's certain players who are often under-owned, like your Scotty Schefflers and things. So, and we know that McIlroy is always going to be highly owned. So as you get into here, how do you play? You get points for how your players score. So birdies are the more likely ones, or pars. So 3 points for a birdie, and it's good if they can get a streak of 3 in a row. So what players who score well? Finishing position, brilliant. If you get that 30 points, absolutely fantastic. You want to factor in how hard a tournament is in order to score well on it. And when you're looking at these finishing positions, that comes more into the showdown type, but basically you want 6 of your 6 players to make the cut. Sounds obvious, but it's very hard. You'll see a good website or link is Cut Sweats on Twitter. So they'll tell you how many got through. Some tournaments can be as low as 2-3%. Others, like the Open, where it was top 70 in ties, I think it was more like 12 to 15%, depending on different contests. And then you know if you're live. So if you were good to go into it, let's have a look at this one, for example, which I've not entered. So that's other lineups I've put into other tournaments. As you go in, you got here $50,000, and that's the remaining salary. So if you can click on someone like Cameron Young, you can see that's adjusted. And basically you're going to pick the players who you think, like I said, you want them to make the cut, perform well, and finish in position. So you could look at it as a bit of an accumulator. We like Højgaard this week, and I'm just going to do this off the top of my head. Some others like Aberg maybe. So you can see where it gets tough. If you've got 2 expensive golfers, you now got to go dumpster diving down here. Ches Reavie, good accurate player. And then I like Kevin Yu. And we'll go for someone like Quest or Lee or Brandon Wu. You're not meant to say if you post it on YouTube, just in case who you've chosen, as you're not allowed to recommend lineups. It's also not beneficial because if everyone enters the same one, it splits the money. So say you had the same one as 3 other players, that $1,000 would be split by into thirds. So you don't want duplications. That's why it's worth getting unique. That's part of the game theory aspect that we'll move on to in other videos. So I think we've got a bit of an advantage here because a lot of the content out there is about these week-long contests. There's a guy called Degenerate75 who does the best content out there for Showdown. He's brilliant and he's well worth a watch on YouTube. But most people playing it are from Canada and America. So how can we get different? In these tournaments where we can look at DP World Tour players, the website's not great, but we need to put in a bit of effort and we can look through the stats there. When I say it's not great, I'll give you an example of how bad it is. It just takes ages to load. It's a bit skewy because you got McIlroy, who it's counting in probably 1 DP World Tour tournament played, but the majors. And then Bjork, apparently, this is the 2nd best player, and I've never even heard of Nathan Kimsky. But you can go through this and delve deeper into that, which I can take you through on different videos. So, moving back, why we can be different is, like I say, getting into those players who are a bit more obscure, the new amateurs moving through, Corn Ferry Tour players who've recently moved up, people like Aberg, who has only played, 5 tournaments, but good finishes, scores well, long driver, he's getting an eagle every tournament, which is pretty good going. And also, you will have an advantage over me, where I've got a lot of scar tissue on this, where people have been first in tournaments, been let down by McIlroy, which is part of those that don't like him, when he couldn't beat Morikawa with like a 2-shot lead in DP World Tour final. Danny Willett let me down when I've been first, and other players who I just don't really play. So sometimes you can just go into this and often I'll just choose a lineup of my favourite players. So you could go for that. We'll stick a Matsuyama in there. But that's a good way to be a bit different. Also, there's wave stacking. So websites like Rick Run Good will show you the tee times, but you can go on PGA Tour, stack everyone from the Thursday AM, Friday PM slots, or vice versa. And that's a good way to be unique. The thing with that is, in the players, there was a big weather stack one year, and only 7% of people weather stacked. I believe only 1% went on the opposite one to what was predicted, and that ended up being the good one because of delays and things. So all of a sudden, your golfers are pretty much playing a different golf course to everyone else. So that's a fantastic way to do it. And it only takes a second having a couple of tabs open for PGA Tour website. Like I said, the other ones that do it are Vic Rungood, where he's got his models and things. Fantastic website. So you can see here, he has got there AM PM, but without paying for that, you can, like I say, do it or just do it off the app. Other websites I'd recommend using are Data Golf, which is free, and Golf Betting System, which is here. Gives a fantastic course preview from Steve Bamford or Paul Williams. So yeah, best of luck, gents. Hope this guide's been helpful. I'll take you through other bits, how to use optimizers. I believe we can get an advantage on other contests and that other people aren't tipping up. Things like tiers, how to make the most of achievements. But please, if you're signing up, use this code and we'll share some money that we can lose together. We'll have a bit of a thrill, and if we win $10,000, you're taking me on a night out. Cheers.